Kat, thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me today about critical creativity.
Yes.
And could we start by you telling us something about what it means to you, critical creativity means to you?
Yes. I think it means, well, it means for me, basically I think the way I work, I like to think creatively, I like to doodle, I like to use creative means of understanding what's happening, and I like to encourage others to use the creative means to understand what's happening.
Yes.
And for me, that would do.
Great. And so, can you tell us how you got into creativity?
I got into creativity because I did a lot of women's work.
Yeah.
And we used mandalas in women's work to express something that had happened to us, or a meditation that we had been guided through. At the end of storytelling, we would then be asked to just take colours, take crayons, and create an image, which we would then share and place meaning into. And in that space, I started to understand that by switching off my thinking and my intention of choice, by wanting to take the right colour or this colour because of whatever, but just being guided by my inner intuition and allowing that guidance to come through, that I would enter a space of stillness and meditation and excitement, and the energy would build, and I would start with one, and then a design would happen or not, but that it would feel comfortable and reassuring for me to then gaze on the image, and that I would then sometimes use that image to meditate and to help myself in a place of peace. And also I found that in that process, that subsequent to that, solutions to problems that had been plaguing me or that had been taking up a lot of mental energy, the solutions suddenly came from a different space within my being. So I think that, to me, is why it's really important. It's like I'm going into another part of my brain almost to enable ideas to bubble, or intention to bubble, from actively cutting off intention to create a perfect image or whatever. So that's how I've used it personally and continue to use it personally. And so bringing it now into a space for people to try and problem solve, and to provide them for a space, other people a space, and an invitation to stop thinking and start to be, and to move with their own intention around it. Which I think is challenging, because so many of us have been cut at school by having statements made about our creativity, about it not being perfect, and so it's very challenging for people to use things creatively if they feel they're going to be judged, because I think it's very exposing as well.
Yes. And how do you help people to get over that feeling that they're going to be judged?
My intention is not to, so I come with a clear intention of not judging, and sometimes I've taken examples of things so that people can see it's not about creating a masterpiece, it's about creating something from within yourself which will be treasured and honoured. So it's about creating a safe space, and it's also about an invitation rather than a demand, so that and having, I think, a variety of of tools that people can use, because some people are more comfortable with building things and models and rather than actually drawing. So having a variety of things that people can use. And in recent, the last workshop that I did, we had the creative and craft materials, but we weren't overt about those.
Yeah.
They were there, and so people were invited to be creative with an invitation of, you can use these if you want, but you don't have to. And then was surprised by actually how much energy people then took to the play and exploration of that, rather than feeling it was something that a lesson they were being set in primary school, that they had to make something. So that's how I would do it. And always then surprised how people will share the pleasure and that overcoming their own reluctance or their own questioning about their own ability, but the joy that they got from just actually putting a pen to paper, how beneficial that was, and nourishing.
It's brilliant. And have you read any of the papers that have sort of come out of this development of critical creativity in health and social care, the papers that Brendan and I have written around the frameworks, the theoretical framework and the methodological framework?
I've read the chapter in the practice development book with the spiral of creativity. But I have to say that I'm a bad reader, as in I tend to engage. I like engaging more in conversation with people. But I have read that, and yes, I'm very drawn to the spiral, and it was used this morning in a presentation about the. I forget the actual terminology, but I was very drawn. That has invited me to actually revisit and to relook at it. I find that I find it hard sometimes to intellectually understand things, but intuitively they make sense. But then when there are words put to it, I find that that's challenging for me to get access to it.
And of course this is one of the assumptions that critical creativity is sort of premised on, is that we use all our ways of knowing to learn and to understand and to grow and develop insights. And we listen, our intuition and our embodied knowing, our wisdom, equally important to our head knowledge. Trying to get our head around all these frameworks and these processes and principles.
Because when I look at that image that you've created, it organically resonates as it's something that I see in nature that makes sense, that something is expanding and something that is ongoing, really, and all-inclusive. So it makes great sense to me.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.